Hello, everybody. I'm going to be doing my reading reaction for the 3 readings that I did this week. The first one I'm going to discuss is the article that I got from the qualitative report, and that's Military Parents' PTSD and Children's Mental Health, a scoping review. I made a chart representing the findings from the article, and I'm going to show that now. This chart discusses the impact of PTSD on military members, their family function, and then the secondary trauma that it causes. Another thing that stood out to me in this article was the scoping review. I had never heard of that. But scoping studies are used to explore the range and depth of available literature on a specific topic and to identify the gaps in existing research. Scoping review uses qualitative analysis to examine the relevant literature and address focused questions using broad search parameters. Based on the article, these are the steps for conducting a scoping review, and I found it very interesting that you could use a method to be able to know what the literature is on a subject and the gaps in research. The next reading that I want to talk about is In Search of Subjectivity. The author describes subjectivity as the quality of a researcher that affects the results of their investigation. He argues that one must be aware of their subjectivity. So not just the fact that they're subjective, but he believes that the person or researcher should know how they're subjective. The researcher mentioned several reasons why researchers should be attentive to subjectivity. And they're mentioned here. The author also discussed a research that he did in which he discovered his own subjectivity. So he mentioned about 9 different things that he called eyes. And he said that the eyes are present with us during research and can affect the way that we conduct and present research. So he argues that we need to tame our subjectivity, and that is advocate the enhanced awareness that should result from a formal, systematic monitoring of self. The aim is not to exercise subjectivity, but to enable oneself to manage it as the researcher collects, analyzes, and writes up data. The next and final reading that I did for the week is titled Evaluation as a Relationally Responsible Practice. The article defines qualitative evaluation as inquiry that establishes the value and goodness of a practice based on insiders and contextual knowledge. This chart discusses the 3 different approaches discussed in the readings: the didactic approach, the pedagogical approach, and the dialogical approach to evaluation. Another takeaway that I got from the reading is the steps of interactive qualitative evaluation, and I also made a chart for this. So in regard to the different paradigms, there are some that are subjective and some that are objective, which we've discussed. So I would really like to take a subjective approach to the research that I want to do. And critical theory is the one that I most resonate with because the researcher is a part of the meaning-making process. I would really like to use my own experiences in my research. I would really like to explore how the power structure in education affects certain students, and so I believe that's in line most with critical theory. So that's another reason that I would like to use the critical theory research paradigm. Reflexivity is the process of reflecting on one's own subjectivities and how they shape and are shaped by each aspect of the research process. And there's different methods that you can use to be reflexive. And of the methods mentioned in the classroom, I would want to do the self-interview, talking with colleagues, peers, and friends, and then a video diary. Those are the things that resonate most with me. And so overall, I enjoyed all of the readings this week, and I look forward to the readings for next week.